Hello guys, methods of data collection, and I will discuss to you the first observation method and the interview method. Methods of data collection on primary data. First method is observation method. Is a method under which data from the field is collected with the help of observation by the observer or by personally going to the field. So this observation method is classified as a participatory study kasi the researcher himself or herself has to immerse in the setting where the respondents are. So kailangan niyang pumunta at makikipaghalubilo sa mga taong target of interest niya. Then, this observation could be overt. Everyone knows that they are under observation, or covert, that no one knows that they are under observation. So, pupunta yung observer o researcher to examine events, people, or group of people. So, while observing, he or she could take notes, descriptive notes, or reflective notes. Descriptive notes if kung ano yung mismong na-observe niya sa kanyang point of interest, or reflective notes kung ano yung kanyang natutunan while observing. Types of observation. First is structured and unstructured. So, structured observation, when observation is done by characterizing style of recording the observed information. So, this kind of observation is, kumbaga, nakasit lahat yung kailangan nilang gawin, kailangan nilang i-observe, yung hahanapan nila yung mga bagay na kailangan nilang malaman doon sa kanilang point of interest. So example nito is an auditor performing inventory analysis in store. So this structured observation could be quantitative or qualitative research methodology that has been used by the social sciences. So meron silang set of standards na dapat kumbaga goals na dapat ito malaman nila, makuha nito ng ganitong uri ng information from the observation process. Number 2 is unstructured observation. So, kabaliktaran ito sa number 1 na structured observation. It is more informal and free-flowing. Kumbaga, walang set na standards na kung ano yung dapat nilang matutunan. So, it is when observation is done without any thought before observation. Halimbawa is observing children playing with new toys. So, ano siya? Free-flowing. It could be open-ended questions, so or normal day-to-day conversations. So parang wala lang yung free-flowing. Wala silang pinaghahandaan, kumbaga adlib lang. Types of observation: participant and non-participant. Participant is when the observer is a member of the group which he is observing. So, taking part o nagpa-participate siya while observing. It could be a holistic approach and difficult to record data kasi nag-take part siya, meron siyang part sa sa kanyang inoobserbahan. Kasali siya doon sa grupo ng kanyang inoobserbahan. It could be time consuming and risk of losing objectivity. Advantages of participant is first, observation of natural behavior. Then, closeness with the group and better understanding. Better understanding kasi siya mismo mafe-feel niya kung ano yung ginagawa ng grupo kasi kasali siya. So, magiging ma-close siya sa grupo na kanyang inoobserbahan. Then, yung makukuha niya o malalaman niya yung natural behavior ng mga tao kasi kasali siya. So, number 2 is non-participant. So, when observer is observing people without giving any information to them. So, hindi siya kasali sa kanyang inoobserbahan. Kumbaga, kung ito yung group of people na kanyang inoobserbahan, so nandito siya sa labas, hindi siya kasali, out of the group siya. So, mas maybe it could be less time na kanya magagamit kasi yung part niya is hindi na siya magpa-participate kundi mag-observe lang siya. Hindi katulad sa participant kasi gagawa pa siya ng mga bagay na kailangan lang gawin as a group, tapos mag-o-observe siya sa kanyang mga kagrupo. So, the advantages of this non-participant is first, objectivity and neutrality. Then, more willingness of the respondent. Kasi, yung mga respondent is, kumbaga, gaganahan din sila gumawa ng mga bagay na kailangan nilang gawin kasi mayroong nag-observe sa kanila. So, kumbaga, pag pinapanood ka, mas nagaganahan kang gumawa. Next type of observation is controlled and uncontrolled. Controlled is when observation takes place according to definite, prearranged plans. This controlled type of observation is mostly used in experimental studies because all variables are being controlled. Sa uncontrolled, when the observation takes place in a natural condition, it is done to get a spontaneous picture of life and persons. So this is natural setting without the influence of the external control. Kumbaga, free flowing. So another method of data collection on primary data is interview. So familiar naman to sa ating lahat. Interview method, this method of collecting data involves presentation or oral, verbal stimuli and reply in terms of oral, verbal responses. Then, so syempre, yung interviewer o researcher ang magtatanong sa kanyang respondent para makakuha yung kanyang desired information na gusto niyang makuha sa kanyang respondent. Types of interview. First is personal interviews. The interviewer asks questions generally in a face-to-face contact to the other person or persons. It could be group interview or individual interview. So next is structured interviews. In this case, a set of pre-decided questions are there. So kumbaga, just like sa structured observation, na set na yung lahat ng questions o yung meron ng flow yung researcher o yung interviewer kung ano yung una niyang itanong, di niya susunod, yung panghuli. So next is unstructured interviews. In this case, we don't follow a system of predetermined questions. Kumbaga, free flow lang ito, just like the unstructured observation. So hahayaan yan kung ano yung mangyayari next. So kung magtatanong yung researcher, then mag-respond yung respondent, tsaka magpapalitan na yon ng conversation until na makuha yung information na nais ng researcher. So next is focused interviews. Attention is focused on the given experience of the respondent and its possible effects. So this type of interview, your respondents has a freedom to allow to talk, yung kumbaga bibigyan mo ng freedom yung iyong respondent na magsalita kung ano yung nais niyang sabihin sa yung mga itinatanong. Yung respondent mo ay hindi malilimits is clinical interviews. So this clinical interviews is concerned with the broad underlying feelings or motivations or with the course of individual's life experience. So like sa focus interviews, your respondent is allowed to express something they have in their heart. So next type of interview is group interviews. A group of 6 to 8 individuals is interviewed. So marami yung respondent mo in yung magkasabay mo silang tatanungin. So halimbawa nito is kumbaga yung talk show, specific talk show in a television, tapos you have a group of guests, yung 6 to 8 guests na tatanungin mo sa yung talk show. So next is qualitative and quantitative interviews. So, it is divided on the basis of subjective matter. Halimbawa, whether qualitative or quantitative. This is selection interviews done for the selection of people for certain job. Halimbawa nito is job interviews. So next is deep interviews. It is deliberately aims to elicit unconsciousness as well as other types of material relating to special to personality dynamics and motivation. So dito sa deep interviews, it could be various of kind and purposes, open-ended questions, looking for meaning and context and respondents on words. So tatanungin mo ang iyong respondents tapos sasagot sila na sa kanila mismong nalalaman. Next is telephonic interviews, contacting samples on telephone. So this kind of interview is hindi siya face to face, kumbaga ginagamitan siya yung may means siya yung telephone, yung mga phone calls o phone call interviews, yung tatawagan ka lang tapos tanungin at magsasagot